headlines of this hour on VTV News. Party chief meets with voters in Hanoi. And new regulations introduced to improve child protection in cyberspace. In our world news, UN raises alarm over Syria violence, calls for an end to the fighting.
Broadcasting from Hanoi, the capital of Vietnam. VTV News starts right now.
Good afternoon. It is 3 p.m. local time and you're tuning in to VTV News. I'm Huyền Trân with the top stories. On Tuesday, Party General Secretary Tô Lâm met with voters from the districts of Ba Đình, Đống Đa and Hai Bà Trưng in Hanoi to report on the outcomes of the 8th session of the 15th National Assembly. More to follow.
At the meeting, Party General Secretary Tô Lâm outlined the country's socio-economic development and discussed urgent tasks established by the Party Central Committee to guide the nation into a new era of growth and prosperity. He also addressed voters' concerns.
We hope that the party, the government, and the National Assembly can come up with specific solutions to improve the education and training system to develop the country's human resources.
I propose that the National Assembly strengthen the supervision of the implementation of Resolution 29 on fundamental and comprehensive innovation in education.
Primary education deserves our utmost attention, as it plays a key role in education. However, there are still places where this issue is not given the necessary focus. We need a stable curriculum with standardized national requirements. We also need to eliminate the problem of academic achievements being inflated. Additionally, we must ensure educational equity in society so that people from all over the country can benefit from the advancements in education.
Prime Minister Phạm Minh Chính inspected Phase 1 of the Long Thành International Airport project in Đồng Nai province on Tuesday morning. And during his visit, he reviewed the construction of key transportation links, including the Biên Hòa Vũng Tàu Expressway, the Ho Chi Minh City Long Thành Dầu Dây Expressway, and National Highway 51. While commending the project team's efforts, he urged contractors to accelerate their work. The connecting roads are scheduled for completion by April 30th. And at the construction site, the Prime Minister instructed stakeholders to complete procedures in December and commence second runway construction in early January. To expedite progress, he proposed direct contractor appointments for high-performing companies while emphasizing legal compliance, anti-corruption measures, and a minimum 5% reduction in investment costs. The Prime Minister set a firm deadline for the airport to be operational by December 31st, 2025, and also called for immediate preparation of Phase 2. Now, during his official visit to Singapore, National Assembly Chairman Trần Thanh Mẫn met with leaders of several corporations and enterprises. He welcomed CMIA Capital Partners and Surbana Jurong Group's joint investment in the Ho Chi Minh City Ecotech Urban Complex project, valued at $1.3 billion. The project is expected to generate around 120,000 stable jobs and also attract enterprises in high-tech industries and food technology. He emphasized that Vietnam highly values the presence and contributions of Singaporean businesses. The government is committed to creating the most favorable legal environment for foreign investment and business success in Vietnam. Party General Secretary Tô Lâm has stressed that the continued reform and restructuring of the political system's organizational apparatus are critical and urgent, as time does not wait. The Politburo has outlined proposals and directions to create a strong, efficient, and effective system.
The Politburo has outlined the reduction of 4 party agencies under the Party Central Committee, 25 party committees, 16 party organizations and unions directly under the Central Committee, 5 ministries, 2 government agencies, 4 National Assembly committees, and 1 agency under the National Assembly Standing Committee. This plan marks the most extensive restructuring of the apparatus to date.
The implementation will face challenges and resistance in several units, but it must move forward. It's like a healthy body requiring bitter medicine or the pain of tumor surgery.
The party chief considers this an urgent issue, believing that swift action will benefit the people and the country despite the challenges it poses to individuals and organizations.
Reorganizing the apparatus will streamline the payroll, affecting some party members and leaders. Party committees and leaders must quickly develop a clear plan to help everyone understand that supporting the streamlining process is essential for the common good.
This is a crucial task. We need a strong policy framework that enables officials to be proactive and builds consensus to drive the political system's organizational revolution.
Streamlining the political system's apparatus is vital to significantly improve its efficiency. To ensure the success of this revolution, it is crucial that leaders and heads of party committees lead by example, take initiative, and remain resolute in fulfilling their duties.
Vietnam's Purchasing Managers Index (PMI) for the manufacturing sector reached 50.8 in November. A PMI above the 50-point threshold indicates that business conditions have continued to improve for the second consecutive month following Typhoon Yagi in September. While overall new orders increased, weak international demand dampened the sector's growth. The end of the year is typically a peak business season driven by a surge in both consumer and production demand. And with interest rates remaining stable and relatively low, both businesses and banks are capitalizing on this period to boost borrowing and lending.
With year-end appliance sales expected to spike, this company is considering borrowing more capital to import goods as lending rates are favorable.
Interest rates have risen slightly from 5.8% to 6%, to 6% to 6.5% this year. Despite this, businesses are still considering taking out more loans due to weak domestic demand.
At year-end, businesses ramp up production and trade for Christmas and New Year, driving a sharp increase in working capital needs. As a result, many banks are considering granting additional credit limits to meet demand.
If the credit ceiling is increased by 2 to 3%, we can provide the economy with an additional 78 to 118 million USD.
As consumption rises, there will be more room for credit growth. Manufacturers and large enterprises drive significant loan demand, providing banks with opportunities to increase credit.
At year-end, several banks raised deposit rates for long-term deposits by 0.1 to 0.5%, while lending rates remain stable. With only 11% of the annual credit target disbursed, a significant amount remains to meet the year's 14 to 15% credit growth goal.
From the beginning of the year until the end of September, deposits by economic organizations reached over $275 billion, up 3.4%. Now, this was the part of the latest data released by the State Bank of Vietnam on Monday. Household deposits exceeded $273 billion, 6.5% higher than the end of last year. In September alone, over $354 billion in idle funds flowed into the banking system daily. Now, before we move on to other important updates, let's take a look at the foreign exchange rates of today, December 3rd. Coming up next on VTV News. New regulations introduced to improve child protection in cyberspace. And Vietnam-China opens trade and tourism fair in Lạng Sơn. Decree number 147 on the management, provision, and use of Internet services and online information takes effect on December 25th, introducing new regulations to protect children in cyberspace. The decree requires children under 16 to have a parent or guardian register their social media accounts. Additional measures include limits on online playtime and requirements for service providers to label child-appropriate content. These safeguards aim to strengthen our child protection in the digital environment.
Under Decree 147, children under 16 must register their social network accounts using their parents' information. This requirement enables parents and guardians to monitor and manage the content their children access, post, and share on social networks. The new regulation has received widespread support from parents.
As a parent, I believe Decree 147 will greatly support parents in protecting their children from the negative impacts of the Internet and ensuring their safety in cyberspace.
Decree 147 also stipulates that cross-border platforms, information websites, and domestic social media providers must classify content and display clear warnings for material that is inappropriate for children.
This regulation will require age labeling for video games. This is a much-needed measure, as access to unsuitable games and content can impact children's psychological development.
We will closely collaborate with international organizations and social organizations in Vietnam to implement the regulations of Decree 47 in practice.
Social media service providers will have 90 days from December 25, 2024 to verify user information. Once this period ends, all unverified accounts will be locked, preventing users from commenting, posting, or sharing content.
Now, in recent years, bringing electricity to rural, remote, border, and island regions has been a key priority for Vietnam's energy sector. Kiên Giang province, home to many distant islands, exemplifies this commitment. Despite logistical challenges, the energy sector has made significant progress in connecting the province to the national power grid, which now reaches nearly all inhabited islands.
A notable project brought electricity to Lai Son Island, with 40% of construction occurring under challenging sea conditions. Through the efforts of the Southern Power Corporation, the project was successfully completed.
In the past, we could only use diesel-generated electricity for 8 to 12 hours a day. Now we have power 24/7. It's amazing.
The milestone achievement of Phu Quoc can largely be attributed to the installation of Southeast Asia's longest undersea 110 kV cable. More recently, the 220 kV overhead sea-crossing transmission line from Quien Binh to Phu Quoc, also the longest of its kind in Southeast Asia, was completed.
Our provincial resolution involves a plan to expand the power grid further once funding is secured.
Currently, only 3 island communes, An Son, Nam Du, and Tho Cho, still rely on diesel generators. However, plans are underway to extend the national grid to these areas, ensuring a consistent and sustainable power supply.
The Department of Water Resources forecasts that saline intrusion in the Mekong River's estuaries will intensify in December. Salinity levels of 4 grams per liter are penetrating 15 to 20 kilometers inland, though this is still 7 to 10 kilometers lower than the multi-year average. Despite this slight improvement, the department warns of significant risks of drought and saline intrusion during the 2024 to 2025 dry season. These conditions are expected to be more severe than average, but less intense than the dry seasons of 2023 to 2024, 2015 to 2016, and 2019 to 2020. The department urges coastal provinces to reinforce critical dikes and embankments in preparation for potential high tides toward year-end. Local authorities are advised to plan for early sowing in flood-receded areas to reduce water demand during peak drought. Irrigation systems must closely monitor rainfall and Mekong water flows to optimize water storage. And additionally, provinces should inspect and strengthen temporary dams and irrigation infrastructure to mitigate saltwater intrusion risks. Residents in Ho Chi Minh City are enjoying several smart city benefits: free public Wi-Fi, enhanced security through street cameras, and eco-friendly living powered by smart applications. These modern conveniences are part of a pilot program in 5 wards of Thủ Đức City, where smart neighborhoods are taking shape.
The free Wi-Fi on select streets has helped Linkit handle urgent work matters when 4G signals have been unreliable.
The free Wi-Fi is faster than 4G, and you don't have to worry about forgetting to register for mobile data.
Phước Long A Ward has implemented the smart neighborhood model across all 15 neighborhoods in the area. Local businesses along these streets have displayed their Wi-Fi passwords for public use. The neighborhoods have also created Zalo groups to inform residents about the Thủ Đức City app, security camera installation, household waste management, and environmental protection through smart applications.
I go to each house to help people install the Thủ Đức City app and link it with their VNEID account. It is easier to disseminate information through the app.
According to the Phước Long A Ward People's Committee, 100% of the ward's socio-economic data has been integrated into the geographic information system.
By using the geographic information system, you can see it in one place and search for information about specific houses, such as details on residents, population, whether the family is running a business, or if there are children of school age or eligible for military service. This saved us time and effort.
The smart neighborhood model has been piloted in Thủ Đức City since April 2024. According to a city representative, all local agencies and the remaining 644 neighborhoods will implement this model following the pilot areas.
The Vietnam-China International Trade and Tourism Fair officially opened on Sunday and will run until December 6. The fair features 260 booths from 160 businesses, including 112 Vietnamese and 48 Chinese companies. Through showcasing new products and services, the event aims to promote trade and tourism while strengthening friendship and cooperation between the two nations. World-renowned travel guide Lonely Planet has named Alma Resort Cam Ranh in the coastal city of Nha Trang, Khánh Hòa province among 12 hotels that go all out for the Christmas festive season. The Vietnamese representative, highly recommended as a wonderful Christmas getaway, ranks 6th on the overall list. The website wrote that Alma Resort, a 30-acre beachfront resort on Vietnam's south-central coast, has a festive spirit in full swing. From a gingerbread house turned dessert shop to a life-size advent calendar that reveals little surprises each day, the resort hosts a holiday makers market where visitors can shop for locally crafted treasures. Christmas cards made by kids from a local orphanage can also be bought from the Kids Club, with all the proceeds going to support the orphanage. Dallas City enters its most beautiful season with a fresh transformation. Visitors can now explore rolling hills blanketed with pink muhly grass, creating a stunning landscape. As the City of Flowers prepares for its festival season, tourists gather to capture the breathtaking views.
Pink muhly grass is a type of wild plant that thrives in barren soils. When in full bloom, it transforms the hillsides into an endless stretch of soft pink hues. Tourists flock to these fields to immerse themselves in the scenery. Even the simplest blossoms add to the city's charm.
I was impressed by their untouched beauty. It feels like a gift that nature has given Dalat. I hope more people will visit here during the upcoming festival.
This photographer frequently visits the grass fields and has captured multiple collections showing the reed grass in different states. However, he always returns for the unique shade of pink, which provides him with endless creative inspiration.
This is when Dalat reveals its diverse beauty. The cool weather is perfect for leisurely walks and capturing stunning photos.
These wildflowers are remarkable for their delicate beauty, appearing softer and more luminous with every gust of wind. Winter in Dalat is unlike anywhere else, its rolling hills adorned with wild blooms. Beyond taking stunning photos, visitors discover a deeper connection to nature's raw beauty.
Coming up next in our world news. UN raises alarm over Syria violence, calls for an end to the fighting. Israel and Hezbollah exchange strikes as ceasefire violations mount. Now moving on to our world news, UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres said on Monday he was alarmed by the escalation of violence in Syria and called for an immediate end to fighting. Guterres spokesman Stefan Dujarric stated that parties must do their utmost to protect civilians and their property, including by ensuring safe passage for those fleeing hostilities. The UN Security Council will hold an emergency meeting on Syria on Tuesday, following an offensive by advancing forces who captured the country's north from the government. The forces also seized control of much of Syria's largest city, Aleppo, as well as multiple villages and nearby towns. The Syrian military has sought to reclaim these areas with rounds of counterattacks backed by Russia. The prospects of the 60-day Israel-Hezbollah ceasefire in Lebanon are growing increasingly fragile as the two sides continue to exchange strikes. Hezbollah on Monday fired 2 missiles on Israeli military positions near areas bordering Lebanon. This was the first operation the group had announced since the ceasefire came into effect last week. The Hezbollah group called the attack a defensive warning strike in a retaliation for repeated Israeli violations of the truce. And in response, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu accused Hezbollah of gravely violating the ceasefire agreement. The Israeli military also struck dozens of Hezbollah targets throughout Lebanon, killing at least 11 people. The Council of the European Union (EU) on Monday adopted 2 new laws to enhance the bloc's resilience to cyber threats and also foster a stronger cyber solidarity among member states. The new regulation provides for the establishment of a cybersecurity alert system composed of national and cross-border cyber hubs. These hubs will leverage artificial intelligence and advanced data analytics to detect and counter cyber threats. The legislation also supports testing capabilities in highly critical sectors such as healthcare, transport, and energy. It provides for incident response services from the private sector, which can be deployed upon request by an EU member state or institutions in the event of a significant cyber incident. South Korea, one of the world's major plastic consumers per capita, uses artificial intelligence (AI) technology to tackle plastic pollution, which is increasingly important in waste recycling. More than 1,000 AI-powered recycling bins have been set up in communities, parks, and other public spaces across South Korea, retrieving at least 500 million plastic bottles in just over a year. And in return, residents can earn points redeemable for money.
A new type of recycling bin is gaining popularity in residential quarters in the Seoul metropolitan area. Powered by AI, the bin can identify almost all kinds of plastic bottles available in South Korea within seconds. Each machine can process up to 600 kilograms of plastic a month.
I often use recycling bins. Someone around here has earned up to $130 worth of points, which protects the environment and is a way to make extra money.
A recycling factory in Hwaseong, Gyeonggi Province, processes the collected plastic bottles. Here, large bundles of compressed plastic waste are sorted and cleaned. The AI system removes debris, and the plastic is then cleaned in hot water and shredded into small chips. After about 25 minutes, plastic granules that can be used to make fibers or containers are produced.
Currently, we can produce around 10,000 tons of processed plastic granules a year.
Data from South Korea's Ministry of Environment showed that more than 12 million tons of plastic waste were generated in 2021, with plastic bottles and bags making up over 40% of the total.
Now, as usual, let's move on to the weather forecast. And that's all the news we have for this hour. To rewatch our program, you can download our mobile app VTVgo or check out our YouTube channel, VTV4Go. Thank you for watching and see you next time.